March busumi ne de to so aduonu nan enne anwumre yemamu nyina akwaba eba UTV anwumre kase ide esomo eso ye wo ship house abeka junction enkran kase ide ebe this way chocolate drink yo hia ensuhie cocoa pop ebi ene ye de aye afi your special ice ensuo ye nom ye dididi ye de kakase ekoyie pa ewudwa so eya na kwatobe special drinks ebo ye nchidom and afi best point savings and loans and best assurance ekita imo a ye de ensem no emamo ensema ye de eba de oba betie no ebi enie World Bank etwa $11,996 ato say Ghana sika ye betumi e de ato shares e no emrahye bedwafo no agye atom
na edom kuma mrahye bedwam say yo mo wanwa se wo so afo hwe sika sam so peso beba mrahye bedwam abeyi nsembisa ba komienu bi ano
Osuafo hwe Ghana yen sika sam ntoto yeso no wo de aban hyehye bi a ebetumi ama ye ho ato yen kakra ato edwa
na osuafo hwe sika sam so e de atodwa se efiti bosumi ni mu ekwo piempiemienu eni edu enwatwum no aban ase 25 billion ewo man sika yi ho
World Tuberculosis Day wo de futuo emma omanfo se so bi bo ensamanwa yawe na eni kwanse eye om ayepemu
Sara so enedom kuma no asade atodwa biem se hyehye ya aban de egu fom se wo boa ma oman sika sema pagya no enhyeda enkoyisa
Obahima Afia Asiedu iniminua
Akua Agyeiwaa Kodie
yentie ensam no enchemu International Finance Corporation womo hye World Bank sikakrabia no emo na womo ton shares e de ama amamman e wo wiase Ghana ye nche fan ye betumi ato a womo twa e de amaye no $11,996,000 na eno e na mrahye bedwafo no etena ase omagina ya mamra e ye Constitution Article 181 clause 5 so agye atomo
The Speaker, Ghana, as a member of the IFC and the World Bank, has been allocated a total of 11,996 GCI shares with a total share value of some $11,996,000 US. Ghana, however, is not eligible for the SCR subscription due to the fact that its IFC shares is currently above its IBRD shares. The Minister of Finance therefore wishes to seek parliamentary approval for Ghana to take up the additional shares allocated by the Board of Governors of the World Bank. Mr. Speaker, the cost to Ghana for this acquisition is an expected 11,996,000 that are indicated. The payment arrangement has been indicated under paragraph 6.1 of your committee's report. So, Speaker, in conclusion, the committee, in recognition of the role of the IFC in supporting private sector investment in Ghana, and having regard to the fact that Ghana stands to benefit substantially from the increase in the capitalization of the corporation, the committee, having carefully scrutinized the agreement, recommends the House to approve the request for approval of this subscription.
I rise to second the motion that was moved by the chairman of the Finance Committee. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, let me also say that the International Finance Corporation of the World Bank is the investment arm or the commercial wing of the World Bank Group. They have in the past supported the country, particularly the private sector, to thrive. I believe that an attempt to increase our shares will mean Ghana as a country will benefit going forward. The Speaker, particularly the private sector that the IFC obviously is interested in, and obviously is their mandate to support. Mr. Speaker, let me also say that in as much as we support that this approval must happen, I believe the time has come for Ghana to review its constituency at the IMF and the World Bank Group. Speaker, I say this because if you go to the World Bank Group, Pakistan and Iran has been representing Ghana both at the IMF and the World Bank for years. Our constituency at the World Bank Group is said that Ghana is not playing any active role. In fact, the only position that we occupy at the constituency office is an economist level. which I believe is woefully inadequate. Because the Speaker, when it comes to decision making, a country that has a representative at the executive director's level will certainly push the country's interest. And as we speak, it is Pakistan and Iran that is leading Ghana's agenda at that constituency. I believe the time has come for us to sit with our constituency in that World Bank and the IMF group to be able to decide on the roles that Ghana can play.
Aswase mrashebedwani onumonyamfo Mutaka Mubarak onokoya so ene ye opanyina wotea domkuma no ewo mrashebedwam wakasa dia tudwache mu se eye ne nwanwa se oman ye opanyina ohwe sikasam so empeso beba mrashebedwam be yinsembisa mienu ba ko bia no abomudwumadie no akoso ebere wakasa wie ye no onumonyamfo Frank Anodompre nsawom adoaji mrashebedwani eyi na no kire se oswafo ohwe sikasam so wotaiba enti ebia na bibi na aye bibi ntia.
The finance minister keeps getting excuses not to come, keep giving reasons not to come and answer them. The Speaker, I find this to be very unacceptable. Because the finance minister can find time to go around the country doing town hall meetings. And yet, he doesn't want to come to this house to answer to the representative of the people. The Speaker, if you check these questions, about 10 or so of them, about 13 of them, the Speaker, they've been outstanding for a very long time. Today we are told that Finance Minister is going to hold press conference to address the country. He's failing to come to the House to answer questions. He writes that he's gathering facts on the questions. The Speaker, the outstanding orders are very, very clear. How long it should take ministers to appear before this House to answer questions. My worry is that if we keep accommodating the finance minister's excuses, these questions may never be answered. I would want to plead with the Speaker that yes, we may want to vary to do some work. I don't have any objection to that. Speaker, we should give a definitive instructions to the finance minister to come and answer these questions, so that we just don't leave it in the pool for it to get lost. Because even this business that we are trying to carry, the Speaker, many of them involve the finance minister again.
Table officer confirmed. For my colleague to say that it's about 8 months, I don't know where he's getting that information from. So it has gone through the normal process. And in this House, between leadership, we have also come to some working agreement that where a sector minister is unable to attend upon the House, at least we should receive that correspondence a day ahead of the day the sector minister is billed to come and answer the said question. And fact be told, we received this correspondence. I personally followed up to ensure that this correspondence got to this House yesterday. So I can understand the concern of our colleague, except to plead with our colleague that the finance minister has not, on any occasion, and that's a fact, he has not on any occasion refused to come and attend upon this House and answer questions advertised in his name. So I'll plead with my colleagues, let's not raise the temperature, for want of a better expression, unnecessarily this morning. He has written, and let's give him the benefit of the doubt. After the expiration of the date given, then we can have a cause to complain. He has respected this House, and I'll plead with my colleagues to acknowledge the respect and the dignity he has accorded to this House. And let's proceed with today's business.
And that day, Sikasam so for Honorable Kenoforiata, or Ghana Akasa, what church and she share my pabani di go coins or ebeboa, Hamasika somewhat, in Nay Ghana for FM no, and no bet me abrasi.
Discretionary spending is to be further cut by an additional 10%. The Ministry of Finance is currently meeting with MDAs to review their spending plans for the rest of the 3 quarters to achieve the discretionary expenditure cuts. 2. These times call for very efficient use of energy resources. In line with this, There will be a 50% cut in fuel coupon allocations for all political appointees and heads of government institutions, including SOEs, effective 1st February 2022. With immediate effect, government has imposed a complete moratorium on the purchase of imported vehicles for the rest of the year. This will affect all new orders, especially four-wheel drives. We will ensure that the overall effect is to reduce total vehicle purchases by the public sector by at least 50% for the period. Again, with immediate effect, government has imposed a moratorium on all foreign travels except pre-approved critical statutory travels. 5, government will conclude on ongoing measures to eliminate ghost workers from the government payroll by end December 2022. Government will conclude the renegotiations of the energy sector IPP's capacity charges by end of Q3 2022 to further reduce excess capacity payments by 20% to generate a total savings of 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. We will impose a moratorium on establishment of new public sector institutions by end of April 2022, prioritize ongoing public projects over new projects. This is to enhance the efficient use of limited public funds over the period by finishing ongoing or stalled but approved projects.
Wa omaisa na hinora kenofori ataka saye mu no kire mu se efiti emfiempi mienu ani edu enwotwe 2018 ebepim sambre no sika aban ede ahye omaisi kasemu no eye 25 billion Ghana cedis na adenti ama ahoche no abasesia no eye Russia enu Ukraine fo ntokwa no a etietese a enam so ama wiase nada ahochire abano.
Successfully as a country completed the 4-year IMF program. We did so and more by achieving an annual average real growth, GDP growth of 7% between 2017 and 2019 from 3.4% in 2016, maintaining a fiscal deficit below 5% of GDP for 3 consecutive years, maintaining a positive primary balance for 3 consecutive years, which put our debt on a sustainable path, lowering lending rates by over 10 percentage points, restructuring the banking sector to protect the savings of 4.6 million depositors and strengthening the financial sector. So far, government has spent over 25 billion since 2018 to clean up the financial sector, reducing inflation from 15.4% in December 2016 to 7.6% in 2019 and preserving the integrity of the local industry. Improving gross international reserves to reach 8.6 billion, or about 4 months of import cover by 2020. Introducing the most ambitious social welfare policy ever seen in our country, the free SHS program. Constructing and rehabilitating more roads, cumulative of about 6,250 kilometers, completing 6 of 11 interchanges and flyovers, more than any other government in our history. Employ more new teachers, nurses, doctors, agri extension officers, and young graduates than any government in our history. Saving the entire financial sector from inherited, neglected crisis that has cost government some 25 billion so far. Instigating more value for money audits on public procurements than any government in our history, and investing more resources in the police, military, governance, and anti-corruption institutions than ever before.
Yenye ahomjie enkratwa edikan yebasisia. Yamamu nyina Akua ba yetoa ensem no eso. Sikasem so afo na bokeno foriata e de atu dwa se. Se wo hwe sikasem a ho kira Ghana ene wiase nyina FM na. Enke wo se omampanyi na nadodanko akufuado. Ni dwumadi ahoro bebre ho a ebi ti se free SHS nka oyemu sakra kakra. Enso omfa ne nsa enkan ba bi agina ho a na igira.
Let me say this. President Akufo-Addo has absolutely no intention to roll back on any major policy like the free SHS. We see education as the best enabler for sustainable economic growth and transformation and social mobility, and will do more to improve on it for it to serve more and better our children.
Na omaisi kasem so for kasa yemo no che se nansense Ghana fo ahwene yemadi ebehunu se yesika no eto adonko ama dollar no de wasene kora na aban no ebomodin se asoye hwe sikasem so ene omai bank kese no ebeto kese apekwampe ebefa so a yebeye no yie na ma yesika sem no agina ne naso kankan cedi no.
Government of Ghana is to conclude external financing arrangement of up to $2 billion in the next 2 to 6 weeks in line with approved external financing for 2022 and for liability management and to manage the slide of the city. MOF, Ministry of Finance, will also work with the Central Bank to review the foreign exchange retention policy in line with approved external financing for 2022 and for liability management. Additionally, the following measures will be implemented over the medium term: wean off public tertiary institutions from government payroll and provide them with a fixed amount block grant instead. Pursue reforms to address structural challenges in public financial management, including procurement and commitment control, payroll management, and human resource management.
Yetwa ensam no eso eba betu odwa na Ghana fo ni nam from em se aban e de eson ana ban atoso ache se omma kwanpo emma ahyen bi wo a yenkra emfi amonone emma omai emo na enno na da oboso afo ono abukojo oponkoma se sansem no nokra bi ani ho a ewo mo aban enam sikasem so afo no abukeno foriata so e de atu dwa se enmeku a wo mu difan hu dwa bi ti se bust eto a ededa wo mu dwumadien eso no yade a wate so later bia 2 pesos and wate e de afi bust for the eso afa yeba Unified Petroleum Pricing Fund na 9 pesos and wate e de afi later bia eso and the fuel market margin so yade a later bia no wate empeso an baako e de afri so.
January to date, the average export price of diesel and petrol have increased by 57% and 45% respectively. Unlike in other countries where the hike in crude oil prices and exchange rate volatility are leading to shortages in supply of petroleum products, government is implementing measures to guarantee constant supply of petroleum products. To mitigate the impact of the rising price of petroleum products at the pump for the next 3 months, government has decided to reduce margins in petroleum price build-up by a total of 15 pesos per liter with effect from 1st April. The details are as follows: bust margin reduced by 2 pesos per liter, Unified Petroleum Pricing Fund margin reduced by 9 pesos per liter, fuel margin reduced by 1 peso per liter, primary distribution margin reduced by 3 pesos per liter. Ladies and gentlemen, these reductions in margins are expected to reduce prices of petrol by 1.6% and diesel by 1.4%. We anticipate that the measures taken to strengthen the currency will help further stabilize the prices at the pump. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition, the NPA and the Ministry of Energy are in discussions with the OMCs to reduce their margins within the spirit of burden sharing. The government will do all it can to ensure consistent supply of fuel and manage the rate of export price increase by ensuring that the Bank of Ghana has access to adequate foreign exchange to support this.
Ebra mai sika sam so afo no ekasa wie ye no nam so ema amrahye bedwam edom kuma ba no den onimanya foro na Idrisu enso ekasa bi na ne smode atodwo akyerem se de aba no aka ni nyina no eye kasa keke enya de se bebo ayen kura ye hwe sane asika sam no si vumfumpa na niema enkoye no a enya wei ena asa aba no eye wonye niema papa bi ne hu faso mfiri so na de waka ne de eye akeka kwa.
We listened carefully to the Honorable Ken Oforiatta in his so-called expenditure cut and review of a cabinet retreat which took place chaired by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Little did we know that in Ghana now, you have quarterly reviews of budget statement outside the presence of Parliament. It is only proper that whatever measures he intends to take and will take will be brought before the August House for us to help him tighten and implement austerity measures to save an economy which is in dire straits. Arguably, after listening to the Minister for Finance and his responses and his proposals, whilst he is talking about expenditure cut, he also insisted that they are going to spend on growth areas and social spending. That can only be a contradiction. Our immediate response to the Honorable Minister of Finance is to state emphatically and unequivocally that he's lost touch with reality. He is not in tune with the state of the Ghanaian economy. Our economy today is one that reflects nothing less than a cost of living crisis and a cost of doing business crisis, both for citizens and for businesses who are unable to cope with the measures so announced by the Honorable Minister for Finance. We do not find his proposed measures adequate enough. We need certainty and clarity. If you had an expenditure approval of 145 billion, we expect that you tell us that I want to cut 45 billion out of the 145, and we know that this is your commitment. 20% of this, 10% of that. We are still not certain how much expenditure cut he intends to undertake. More importantly, he's announced a number of revenue measures, and there's always effort and attempt to blame the minority on the unpopular e-levy tax, a tax which only manifests a money tax and a lazy tax and a money movement tax. We state again strongly that we will not support e-levy in whatever form and in whatever character he brings it. But let it not be repeated that the minority did not support government in its revenue measures. We did. But we do not find the measures adequate enough to deal with a country which is in debt distress. We do not find the measures enough, which is increasing the cost of doing business for Ghanaian businesses, in particular importers who rely on forex to be able to do their business. So his responses is woefully inadequate for an economy which they have inflicted a rising cost of living and rising cost of doing business.
Yahumi abasisi ya yaba ebeto akasi eboneso. Jamaya ho akwaba Afia yentu akase bonu sway. Soko konfanochi abaya resabia mechireji ewo kumasi bantima doctor ni awono ene hwe enkoda omo eyade ne so ede atodwachi mu se TB eye samawa yade no eye atiatese ewo enkoda mu nti empenifo pe kwampa ebefa so ebetimi aso ano ntem na ma enkoda ne so enyankwa
kwa yesi hono ya wode ebode rowiase afana nyina ekasa efa ensamanwa anase tuberculosis ehun na wadi saa da no ekwan soronko so ewo asantemantemu a apomudi adwumayefo ene omanfo dodo na no ekọ adwumadie yase na wosan eye enhwehwemu ede ema won kwa wanyi won hwe se ensamanwa wo bi anase onibi adwumadie yase ena openna oda pediatric infectious disease clinic konfanoche aban Akyere Odano Dr. Anthony Enamel editudwa sesenia ensamanwa esi etreno ehia sempeni former wadwene koso papaapa wosin hwehwemu adana di se afi 2021 enipa enya ensamanwa no na eye empimu dumiensa esanse covid baaye no na adwene ni nyina ekọ covid so nti yarewa aka no na yenhwe eho osi World Health Organization hwehwemu a waye kiremu a dakru bia no enipa empimu nan no ha ena ekum won ena enipa beburu mpim aduasa ena etimi nya yade ni bi osi tuberculosis na ensamawa no eyensan yade ubowa na bi wo so na obi home a otimi nya bi enu nti esese o manfo hwe ye hu yie se de be ya yade no ye ma entre bebre
TB eye tete yare awo ho ache na em se covid baaye no bekata bibia so but answer na covid by na TB wo hodada na akoye world TB day no ye pese o ma e ba konfanochi no ye create awareness all your patient or your staff person kofu hu se TB wo ho Ghana krafi etwemu no TB report any over 13,000 plus e wo Ghana but WHO estimates no chere sa fibia no ye nya be new 44,000 TB cases and intina enne no yatiesi ho se kakra ye be ne se ye be create awareness ye man kofu hu ne e koso se TB yare na mpa ebi wo Ghana ye nyina no ye ka se investor se obi anwe ne ho ye de kakra betumi obi a wo fie bi a wo hwe me ana wo tie me no se uni mobi ana wa ankasa wo nsunsanso so a ko hospital bi e be ho ne ye papa o TB no ho se e ka anim Abaya fa ho kanyina any WHO no global fund ye so wa hwe for TB a untu ahwe na ye ma waduro to for TB a TB aduro ne abusumi nsia eno so untu akapre kra ntimo obi a ntena fie ema TB nkuno
omanfo ane wadwumadie na se a won mu agi free screening no any UTV nsɛmhwɛ for ekasai
die meeting akache million Ghana fonse se hu bisa asentempa imam ba hospital na ye hwe nitu ase kra amount said the inside union marker
obia mo no ho ban fi sa yare no enye se wo fi a etimi sane fi ofo nyina so bo wa na atwe mi ni nko ya tumika ben doctor no won kira de yosa o ye se ne doctor for madaro mani buaba ese nipa tena dem nyare musa entimi de mi hu so obi yare bia meka kire no se onye ntem sa kwala akro bo wa be na atwe mi ni bosumi afa ne check hospital doctor de be hu ne yese o ye den o ye no
obi obe tena fi obe bo wa to aso be na wetwe na service a so ko hu doctor no hwe se bia wanya bia wa ma hu aduru wudi so nkwa na kudo hu kwa ebe mu odura ma wa free.
Medical Superintendent Awashai Osudoku District Hospital, hey Dr. Kennedy Tete Kofi Brightson. What the kokobo ma omanfo say, so be able and samawa yawen ebi tuberculosis e ma yenyom akaka de anase yenyom ayepemo ekobanisa e hadwin pa.
Wiase mpanifo aye neda isuronko e de si honoma wodi kaka yare tuberculosis e TB. Oh my Ghana yeta friend nsamawa no obo hu dewru e de akire wiase afa na nyina ase yare no eda so etiase na se won saka bi so na nkyese wabrabo abawiye to anamo na kwa yaresabia na ebetumi ahwewo ama wo ho ato na wo my Ghana mu no sai osuduku mansini no mu eho na mpanifo ehyefa no medical superintendent awoda sai Osudoku District Hospital no ene Dr. Kennedy Tete Kofi Brightson ne kasa yemu no ena wo kire mu a kame akwa se wona asamawa anase TB yarewa no ewo won so no aya ne yeyi won totwene edi yensa tenetene won so ewo ye mantamu enu ntine se are no obi krampo nsaka bia na ye ne ferie so de bekwa yaresabia ne nyina no mra so se sa suba no yi ne totwene.
And a lot of people do not necessarily grasp the tenets when we say TB. I mean, it's an infectious disease, and basically as we all know, it attacks the lungs, but it also attacks the bones and many other organs in the system. It's a chronic kind of illness, and it can be debilitating, particularly when it attacks your lungs. The important thing here is that as a nation, we are resolved to tackle this TB menace. We are resolved to ensure that the Ghanaian that walks around and contributes his or her quota to the development of this country does not do this with TB. Some of the challenges are the usual challenges we have in the system. Number one is the stigma. But now we want to say that TB is curable.
TB test na yede no. Yen sika. Enti wu ni sika kra utumi ba esan se wo ba na se ye koye TB test bia enji sika. So wunya TB ayeni bi lab ne be ka se wenye bia. Edro na yede wo beto so no so yede wo beto so busumi nsia. Busumi nsia edro ni na eye free. Aban any donors abo ho ka enti sai edro no yen sika. The SSA Yamuni says, COVID, Eba, and also insurance and sanity say TB. No, I'm not the brain about hospital near Bisasa, Obawa, or Sidabi, Nemboa. And Untino, yet the TB I am SCA, as I say, you say, you can say, you boa, you veggie at the hospital, and I say, you can say, when you're COVID. Nina says, so being a TB. Na ya ne high and I have seen if you bear money card, your stigma. A stigma, and my to me and fight it. Nesan say, Yama be brave, mix misconceptions, abata, Emma, Obi will TB crana, Obi and Pesa or Ben. The Yan say, you don't say, well, you're any beer. You do to a gross swat, and you say, also afraid, road, over fun pepper. TB are you to meet to us here.
Ghana Post Company ene ankwankwa nyumako no atokese anaso mo akabom eye adwuma beboa amana fane ntuma preference oswafo na hwe aban enwuma so eye public enterprise onmonyafo Joseph Kujo akwa akosra won na kasaye mu no de atodwa akire se adwumayefo no nyire wo ho anye adwuma na emfaso fi Ghana Post mra na omususu enya bi mfirimu
Onumanyamfo ne kasaye mu no na wo kire mu a enyuma ya aban dia no emra so so wodwene konkan na wofa akwanuasa hodo so obeboa ama aban nyuma hodo no atumi atumpon na aban anya sike mu du ade afiri honom no de ebu oman no wode sansem nyina tu gya wabere ko pie mu e wo Ghana Post atenaya e won kran ne kasaye mu no na wo kire mu a Ghana Post ye adwuma eso pa endi se wodwene konkan na wofa akwanuasa hodo nyina so sesika na obi hia oni ankronkro adwuma eku hodo na ento nkese na ompesika na wofam bi na adwuma no na mfaso embra so ma aban no so ensa entumi enka bi
a position to be a brand business developer because you have the resources, you have the mindset, you have the other time I said the app. I'm happy Ezekiel is saying we should even step it up to a Ghana Post app rather than Ghana Post paid app. Yes, imagine what you can do if, just like everybody was sitting there when Uber, Yango, and those people, that quality assurance that the person looks professional, the motorbike looks well branded. You have a very good logo.
Thank you.
So yours is to put it on a motorbike and put it on a t-shirt and get people work on your platform to provide security to users of that service. You can take over the e-commerce space that is emerging, and your last mile business model can easily be attained.
Na ne kasa akire no ene opanyina ono ene hwe akise kwankyerefo panyini e de ma Ghana Post adwumayku no by so se kofo enso kasa akire mu enhyese ne adwompa mpenfo de agu apono so a obenam so e de ma Ghana Post adwumayku no ayekese
like our own private own entity. So we approach everything Ghana Post like something that we own, and that is something we are also embracing as staff. It is evident in our work. And then finally we are introducing efficiency. You know, there are things that we are already doing but we think we can do it better if we decide to add efficient ways to it. And so we want to make efficiency a key pillar in our work, in our operations within this new strategic planning season. Minister, like I said, we want Ghana Post to become a dividend-paying organization, and so we know with your help we'll be able to do that.
Yanyin kratwe emra sisia. kaseɛ no asi aseda ɛkɔ ama cute cat beauty parlor so ye miti ɛna sɛ west closet ɛma me atade
Akyere Agyeiwaa Kodie ne medi mene
Obahima Afia Asiedu
yadamu nyina mo ase ama mumo ɛhwehwɛ adehye